From Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City, Iowa, it's the Penn State Nittany Lions versus the Hawkeyes of Iowa. This game is brought to you by the Dodge Boys. See your local Dodge dealer for the best buy in town. And by Kentucky Fried Chicken, where you can have a finger-licking good time barrel of fun. Hello, everybody. I'm Ray Scott. Max McGee is here with me. Well, Max, looking at this Iowa Hawkeye record, this is a team that appears to have stopped itself more than the opposition has.
I think that's true, Ray. Bob Cummings says that he's got some good football players, and one of these days he's going to get it together. For Penn State's sake, I hope it's not today. But Iowa has a good defense, and they've been playing pretty good football. They held Syracuse to 1 touchdown, so I think you can look forward to a good football game today.
Let's find out what the head man of Penn State thinks. Tortoretti is on the field with Joe Paterno.
Joe, another great day for college football. Beautiful weather.
Sure is. It's beautiful out here, and I hope we have a great game. We've practiced well enough this week. I hope we're intense enough. Our kids have to realize Iowa's a good football team in spite of their lack of success so far. They've had a lot of tough luck, Iowa. They've hurt themselves, but they're a big, strong football team and have potentially a super back in Wellington. We're going to have to play very, very well today, to beat this football team, and I hope the right mentally.
Joe, I'm glad to hear you say that you practice well, because you've always said the team that practices well will play well. And I certainly know that a lot of people are underestimating this football team of Iowa. Yeah, well, I've looked at some movies with you, and I know.
Yeah, well, now, they're a good football team, and we will have to play well. I think we're going to have to be able to run the football. Their secondary looks quick. I think on defense, we're going to have to be able to stop their running game. They have a powerful backfield, and unless we can get in there and make them kick the ball a little bit, and not let them control the football, it could be a long afternoon for us. But I think we're ready. I hope we are, too.
Okay, Joe, and I know that if we get a break now and then, it'll help us a great deal.
Always need a break or two, Joe.
Certainly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Joe. And we'll be right back with the kickoff.
One thing for sure, despite Iowa's 0-2 record, their fans haven't deserted them. It will not be a sellout here today of about 60,000, but very close to it. Max, looking at Iowa's schedule, what with Ohio State coming up and Southern Cal coming up, Southern Cal next week, it would appear this is a game they feel that they have a chance of winning.
I'm sure they think they have a chance to win this game, and they do. With that many good football players, you have a chance to beat anybody. You know, last year against Southern Cal, Iowa looked tremendous. So they're not a team without talent. I just think, as Coach Cummings said, one guy makes a mistake and it hurts the play. But one of these days, they're going to put it together. And when they do, they're going to beat some good football teams.
What do you expect from Penn State today?
Well, I think they're going to establish a running game. That's Joe Paterno's always been his ace in the hole, is get that running game going and then throw the ball. But I'm sure he's going to try to establish the run.
So on this very beautiful day in Iowa City, that's the way it looks to us in the booth. As to how it looks on the field, we're going back to Tortoretti.
Ray, the reason why I asked Joe how the team had practiced is because, you know, back east we had an awful lot of rain, which interfered with these practices. For instance, on Thursday it rained awfully hard, which forced him indoors. Secondly, I'm concerned about the weather down here on this field. It's much warmer than we would expect, and having practiced all week with temperatures around 40, here we are down here now with the temperatures probably around 70, and I think it will have an effect upon us because of the size of this Iowa football team. Those two factors will enter, I think, in the decision of this game, whether we were able to practice well enough, and secondly, whether this heat will get to our kids. Back upstairs.
Will be played on artificial turf. Now, Max, you had a chance to walk on this playing surface here. It is considerably warmer down there than the announced 70 degrees in the stands.
That's right, Ray. I think Coach Cummings put it quite frankly that when that ground is wet, it's a little cool, but when it's just the sunshine on it, that turf down there is probably close to 90 degrees.
The Iowa co-captains are coming out onto the field. You know, I saw Iowa's game last year, Max, with Southern California, and although the score would indicate a one-sided game, it was not a one-sided game. Can you imagine a football game where, in this instance, Iowa fumbled twice, and the fumbles were picked out of midair by the same Southern California linebacker, One was returned 99 yards for a touchdown. Another one 83 yards for a touchdown. So, as Bob Cummings pointed out, those weren't 14 points. Those potentially represented 28 points because the fumbles came at the end of really well-executed drives.
That's right, and that takes the heart out of a ball club. Iowa can move the football, and they can move it against good teams. Of course, Penn State proved last week that they can play football with anybody, so I think we're going to have a tremendous football game today.
The officials for today's game, who are now escorting the Iowa co-captains, Andre Jackson and tight end Brant Yoakum, out to the center of the field to meet the Penn State co-captains. The referee is Tom Paspalis, the umpire John Henrien, the head linesman Ed Scheck, Earl Birdie the line judge, Wilson McCleary the field judge, and Charles McCallum the back judge. Penn State's captains are Greg Buttle, John Quinn, and Tom Rafferty. And it'll give us a chance here as we await the result of the coin toss to send a special welcome along to those of you who will be watching the game live this afternoon by way of closed circuit television in the rec hall on the campus of Penn State University. I understand the fans last week at the rec hall to watch the Ohio State game really got into it and got excited, Max.
Well, that's great. This week they probably had to come by canoe, but they're there, and that's the main thing.
Well, let's see what the result of the coin toss tells us. This stadium here is named after one of Iowa's legendary heroes, Niall Kinnick, who was killed in World War II. He was one of their... Iowa has won the toss. We have a wind today of probably close to 15 miles an hour, and as you watch the game, it'll be blowing from right to left. And Penn State is going to take advantage of the wind at the outset. So Chris Bahr, and here's one of those little items of trivia we came across, Max, I think we ought to pass along. The success that opponents have had in kicking field goals against Iowa is almost uncanny. In the last 13 games, opponents have been successful in 14 of 16 field goal attempts. So Chris Bahr would have to welcome that sort of what you can call a jinx going in his favor.
That's true, and this young man can kick. He's an All-American soccer player and probably the best kicker in the country.
One of the regular running backs, Jim Jensen, a big 6'5", 233-pound senior running back from Davenport, Iowa, is out there with the Hawkeyes. Presumably he'll be one of the return men, number 22. There he is. Going to have 3 men back. It's the Hawkeyes of Iowa, the Nittany Lions of Penn State. The Hawkeyes won the toss. Chris Bahr, number 99, preparing to kick off for Penn State on an afternoon that lists a temperature of 70 degrees, a right-left wind of about 15 miles an hour. We have one man deep in the end zone. Dave Schick, number 39. Jim Jensen is up to his left, and Bill Schultz is up to his right. So a crowd of somewhere around 55,000 on hand to see if the Hawkeyes can win game number 1 after 2 very tough losses to Illinois and Syracuse. And for Penn State, Bahr gets it very high, and it's going to be taken by Jensen, fumbled by Jensen, and Penn State could have it. Was there control at any time? It's out of bounds at the 14-yard line, and the Hawkeyes are very, very fortunate, Max. They could have lost that ball right there, except that no Penn State player had control of it before it went out of bounds.
There was 3 Penn State players right on the ball, and not a one of them could keep it from going out of bounds before they got control of it.
So the Hawkeyes will start with McLaughlin, number 11, at quarterback. Number 41, Rod Wellington at right half. In motion, Jensen, and McLaughlin is going to be nailed behind the line with 1, 2 penalty markers down. Linebacker Jim Rosecrans broke through, but 2 markers at least were thrown as the play developed. The defensive backfield for Penn State. This is the way it looks, with 4 linebackers listed: Height, Kristen, Butler, and Rosecrans. Defensive halfbacks Mike Johnson and Tommy Odell, and Tom Giotto is starting at safety instead of Peter Kuski. No, Peter Kuski's in there now. Did you pick up the infraction, Max. It was against Penn State of 5 yards.
Right, a little eager. He jumped offside, but if you notice the play developed, he came out throwing the ball. He had a lot of receivers downfield.
Receiver wide right is Schultz. Jensen in motion. Marker down again as fullback Bob Holmes slants left. We may have another offside penalty here.
I think it was the same man in the same spot. It might have been Jim Rosecrans again.
Right. So a first down at the 24-yard line. First and 10 after successive 5-yard penalties.
Jim Rosecrans is probably in a blitzing situation, and both times he's been a little too eager, and it's cost the Nittany Lions a first down for Iowa.
This is a wing T attack employed by Iowa. This is Jensen trying to get running room, and he gets 2 yards. Now, I saw on the last play, and apparently he's going to be used as a messenger, number 40, not listed in the 2 deep, Nate Winston, a junior halfback from Gary, Indiana. The Penn State defensive line, Zmujen, Quinn, Coder, and Crosby. That last play picked up 2 yards, second down 8 from the Iowa 26. Big hole for Holmes, and a marker goes flying. Bob Holmes, the fullback. He's about 2 yards shy of a first down, but a marker down. Ron Hostetler made the tackle. The young man, the junior from Holzhopper. Offside, Penn State again.
Penn State must be awful eager to get to either the quarterback or one of those backs because they're having trouble staying on side.
Iowa has the option here now in the person of Grant Yoakum to decide whether to accept the gain, which would set up a 3rd and 2, or the offside penalty, which they're going to accept, which will make it second down and about 3. Dennis Zmujen of Shamokin, Ron Coder of State College, John Quinn of Staten Island, New York, Ron Crosby of Glassport. The front 4. Over the ball comes Hilgenberg. He's from Malvern, Pennsylvania, the Iowa center. Wing T to the left. Second down 3. This is Holmes, and he has a first down.
Good second effort by Holmes there. They had him behind the line, and he slipped off, and I think he did make a first down.
One of the big running backs employed by Iowa head coach Bob Cummings, number 30, Bobby Holmes, 236-pound senior from California. He gets an Iowa first down. The Hawkeyes now have back-to-back first downs. The first by way of penalty, this one by way of their running. Jensen is a wing back left. Schultz is flipped to the right. Great run by Rod Wellington. About 9 yards before Greg Buttle made the tackle. But just what Joe Paterno was afraid of. An Iowa running attack featuring big running backs and a big offensive line on the left side.
Let's take a look at Wellington here. This young man, though he hasn't shown as much as Cummings would like, you can see here he can run, and he's going to be a tough man to stop today.
Gain of 8 for Wellington, second and 2 at the Iowa 44. This is Holmes. First down at the Iowa 48-yard line.
You notice they went right over that big left guard and that big left tackle weighing a total of 533 pounds. That gives them a pretty good side to go to on short yardage.
Carrying in the message, number 40, Nate Winston. He replaces Wellington, so we're going to have Winston, number 40, as a running back from time to time out of right halfback. Up the middle. Mark Fetter, number 48. So apparently Cummings is going to be alternating his backs, and he already told us that number 39, Dave Schick, who just now checks in, would also be seen quite a bit today. The ball in Penn State territory at the Penn State 47, second down and 7. close to a first down at the Penn State 43. Before Tommy Odell helped out on the tackle.
Joe Devlin, weighing 277 pounds, was leading that play, and he looked like he could move pretty good. He's like a runaway tank if he gets beyond that line.
Tony Petruccio has checked in, number 66 for Penn State defensively, as the Hawkeyes are running the ball beautifully. McNulty is split left. A keeper by McLaughlin, fumble. The Hawkeyes recover for a loss unless the ball was dead. Mark Fetter, the fullback, I believe, yes, recovered at the 44 of Penn State. It's a loss. Fourth down and about 2, and the crowd says go for it.
And the coach says no go for it.
It is punt formation time, and this is just the sort of thing that has been stopping Iowa consistently, a mistake.
Right, the quarterback had the first down, then fumbled, and the ball was gone, went back 5 yards, and they lost the first down.
Dan Matter is the punter. Rich Mauti is back as a single return man at the 10. This is into a wind of about 15 miles an hour. Mauti will allow the ball to be... Is it into the end zone? Well, Iowa could not control it before it got into the end zone, and it's going to be a touchback. So here again, just a little thing keeps Iowa from pinning Penn State back inside the 5.
That's right. He made a great kick. It looked like it's going to stop on the 1-yard line, and some of Iowa's own people knocked it into the end zone. But I noticed that Joe Paterno had a 10-man rush on. They were trying to block that kick.
Now, first look at the Penn State offense today. Taylor starts at fullback behind Andrus. Mauti. Fumble. Iowa has it. Fumble. Iowa has it. Where was the ball dead? It is ruled dead around midfield. Let's see who is given the football.
On the replay, it looks like the NBA is back in action again. Look at that. I think they gave the ball to Iowa at the first point. Who fell on it?
Iowa has it at the Penn State 47, first and 10.
Well, the reason it was dead, Ray, you can't advance a fumble in college football. So actually he fumbled and he couldn't be running with it, so it was ruled dead.
Jensen came in motion. McLaughlin still has the football. Gain on the play of about 5 yards for McLaughlin before Rich Kristen made the tackle.
I think McLaughlin had probably rather run the ball than throw it. He's only hit like about 7 out of 25 passes this year, so maybe running is his main forte.
Ed Donovan, number 35. Ed Donovan is in the Iowa backfield. He's lining up as a wing-back right. Schultz is split left. This is Schick. He's within about 1 yard or 2 of a first down. Dave Schick, number 39, one of a host of talented Iowa running backs. He met Greg Buttle shy of a first down by about 1.5 yards. Two running backs. When Jensen is in there and Holmes is in there, there are 2 running backs of over 230 pounds. And they're in there now. 22 Jensen, 30 Holmes. Marker down as the first down is picked up by Holmes. But again, a Penn State player, Jim Rosecrans, for the 3rd time here in the first quarter, was offside.
That's really beginning to hurt. You give a team like Iowa with these big, strong backs, 1st and 5, they're going to make that first down. So Penn State's got to settle that defensive line down a little bit.
Steve Wanamaker, number 47, the linebacker from Upper Nyack, New York, checks into the game. First down, Iowa at the Penn State 33-yard line. 8:30 left in the first quarter, no score. Totally dominated by Iowa. Jensen to the left. McNulty to the right. Straight ahead and getting practically nothing is Mark Fetter, who just replaced Holmes at fullback. The Iowa coach just stood up there with the glasses, the balding gentleman without the cap. John Quinn stopped that play for no gain. Wellington carries in a play selection now. Bill Schultz will be a wide receiver. Let's see if Iowa goes to the air here with 7:50 left to play in the first quarter and no score. Schultz to the right. Jensen wing back left. McLaughlin looking for a receiver. Incomplete. Intended for Schultz. And somebody did a great job of shaking him loose. It was Tom Odell was there, Gary Peter Kuski was there, and Rich Kristen was there. It's going to be 3rd and 10.
Outstanding defensive play by Tom Odell. You can see here, he timed it perfectly where he got there at the same time the ball did, and that's why he couldn't hold on to it.
Tom Odell was the first of the Nittany Lions to make the defensive play. With the score, Penn State nothing, Iowa nothing. We'll be back right after this.
The man who'd rather drive a truck than a car. His name is Catfish Hunter. He almost never drives a car because the four-wheel drive in his Dodge truck takes him all the places he wants to go. And because when he's after game, he needs room for a lot of game and room for his friends to ride in comfort. That's why Catfish Hunter would rather drive a truck.
The man who'd rather drive a truck than a car would rather drive a Dodge.
Let's face it, honey, it's nice to have a man around the house if you can stand the smell of cigars. Take my Marvin. You can have him if you can lift him off the couch. The only time he gets up is to buy his 3 Pennsylvania lottery tickets every week. He says it's all the excitement he needs, and it gives him a chance to hit it big.
Get the ticket. There are millions to be won.
Proceeds benefit senior citizens.
Play the Pennsylvania lottery.
Marvin, don't you realize you hit it big 25 years ago?
McLaughlin looking for a receiver under a big rush, and it is overthrown, and a big rush is the reason for it. Greg Buttle almost got to the sophomore quarterback from Dubuque, Iowa.
Looked like they were expecting pass because they were rushing a couple of linebackers, and he made him throw that ball overhead. It could have been an interception.
It is 4th down and 10. We're going to have a field goal attempt by Nick Quataro, a junior from Geneva, New York. Doug Reichard is a holder. It'll be a 50-yard attempt into a win. It is good. That ties the record here at Kinnick Stadium for long-distance field goal. So the Hawkeyes break through. With the score, Iowa 3 and Penn State nothing. We'll be back right after this. The offense has had the ball for exactly 1 play, and the first quarter is 7.5 minutes old. This is Donovan at the 15. 33-yard line where Nate Winston made the tackle for Iowa. So let's see if Penn State's offense can do something now. Rich Mauti carried the ball 1 time after gaining 17 yards, fumbled, and Iowa recovered. The offensive backfield. Andrus, Mauti, Taylor, Donovan. Here's Mauti. About 1 yard. Rich Mauti is hit by linebacker Dennis Armington, number 36. second down, 9.
I think Penn State's going to go to work on their running attack right off the bat, but I think now it's 2nd and 9. He may go ahead and put the ball in the air early.
Mickey Schuler, number 82, carried the play in. He's going to line up as the right end. 2nd and 9. Donovan to the 39-yard line, where it will be 3rd down and about 4. Nate Washington made the tackle. The Penn State offensive line. Dave Stutz, the tight end from Mifflintown. Benson from Altoona. Rafferty of Fayetteville, New York. Argenta from Delmont. Thomas from Elizabeth. Greener from Washington. Barvinchak from Binghamton, New York. Barvinchak is wide to the right. Andrus. He's going forward. He couldn't quite get it to Dave Stutz. 4th down. And the Hawkeyes, with a 3-0 lead, will get the football. We'll be back right after this. Punt formation time with Chris Bahr to 2 return men. Fair catch signal, 14-yard line by Rick Penny, a defensive halfback for the Hawkeyes. We remind you that announcers on this telecast are contracted by Total Communication Systems, and any use of this program without the consent of Total Communication Systems is prohibited. Well, this is exactly where the Hawkeyes got the football at the start of the game, at the 14-yard line. That was a beautiful 56-yard punt by Chris Bahr. Well, Toretti down on the field. This Hawkeye offense looks tough.
Ray, this is exactly what Joe was afraid of. He didn't want this team to get the ball and continue to drive and control the ball. And here we have now this pitch out along the side here, and they got out of the hole again.
Big Jim Jensen gets 8 yards on 1st down, and he is big and he is strong.
I think it's important, as Tor just said, that to stop this Iowa team now. This team, all it lacked was confidence. You give them a little confidence, you're going to have your hands full all day. So I think it's important they stop this drive before another score is on the board.
Winston in at right halfback. Now, sometimes Iowa will go from a straight T backfield, but more times than not, they are a wing T team. And they'll flank either the left halfback, Jensen, or the right halfback, Winston. And this particular time, it's Jensen, the left halfback, who's a wing back left. 2nd and about 1. 1st down. Bob Holmes gets another Iowa 1st down, and the Hawkeyes have totally dominated this 1st quarter, which has less than 6 minutes remaining. Iowa leading by 3-0. As we look across the field here at Kinnick Stadium, Iowa City, to Joe Paterno.
Joe never seems worried. He just goes about his business, and pretty soon he comes up with something, but I never see a worried look on his face.
A new quarterback, Butch Caldwell, a senior. And he keeps it. And he might have a 1st down.
They caught somebody taking a nap. Let's look at it again, and you see he just stepped back and went right into that hole, and there was no one there. And a good block by number 58.
It's another Iowa 1st down. This at the Hawkeye 38-yard line. This is Schick. And nowhere to go. Fine defensive effort by Tommy Odell, number 10, Greg Buttle, number 67, and John Quinn, number 90. Gain of 1 yard, and now McLaughlin comes back in, Jensen comes back in, and comes back in. 2nd down and 9 at the Iowa 40. Wingback right is Wellington. Wellington in motion. McLaughlin, 1st down, 49-yard line. Beautiful fake to his fullback, Holmes, and Gary Peter Kuski of the secondary had to make the tackle.
They continue to go to the left side where they have that big guard and tackle, and They're really blocking those Penn State linemen. Great tackle there by Peter Custom.
We'll have a new fullback now, Fetter, number 48. First down, Iowa. This is Fetter, and he gets good yardage on first down. About 4 yards before he's... Ron Crosby, the defensive end, made the tackle that time, but not before there was a gain of 4 yards, so it's 2nd down and 6. Ernie Sheeler is another halfback we hadn't heard very much about. He was in on that last play. This is Schick for about 4. It's going to be 3rd and 1.
Iowa's making no bones about the fact that they're giving it to those big backs and they're running hard. Penn State's going to have to dig in there right in a very quick time or they're going to end up with another score on the board.
Petruccio checks in at a tackle spot. 3rd and 1 Iowa. Penn State 43. 3 minutes, 20 seconds left to play first quarter. Penn State has had the ball for exactly 4 plays and 1 punt. That's it. Fetter, very close to a first down. Very close. Ran into Sidler and Allerman. Randy Sidler of Danville. Kurt Allerman, who just checked in at linebacker. We're going to have a measurement here.
You saw the original T formation right there, fans. That's all 3 backs in and both ends tight. That's the tight T formation, which a lot of these teams use on short yardage in order to get more blocking.
Another first down. Iowa starting from the Iowa 14-yard line with everything on the ground. Exactly 3 minutes left to play in the first quarter. Wide to the right is McNulty. This is Wellington at no gain. Rod Wellington this time.
Wellington, the ball carrier. He was looking.
Ran into Greg Buttle, number 1.
He was looking for a place to cut, and it was where he wanted to cut. It was all white jerseys.
Ron Crosby of Glassport was also there. A loss on the play of about 2 yards. 2nd down and 12. And now wide receiver Bill Schultz goes in, number 23. He's replacing Jim McNulty. Wellington is coming wide right. Schultz is going off to the left. And Randy Sidler from Danville catches McLaughlin from behind, and a big loss on the play, and now Iowa is in a 3rd and long yardage. 3rd down and about 16.
Sidler came from the offside linebacker, even though the rollout was to the right, and he caught him from behind, coming from the right-hand side. That's a long run.
Iowa leading by 3-0 with only about a minute and a half remaining in the first quarter. 3rd and 16 as Hilgenberg comes over the ball. Jensen, wing back left. Wellington went in motion as McLaughlin is looking. And he is nailed for another loss by Ron Coder. So Penn State comes up with 3 fine defensive plays in a row. Coder helped out by Crosby that time.
Let's take a look at these 2 big guards and tackles that Iowa has, Walters and Devlin. They're both double teaming it right here on Ron Coder. That's a lot of weight to have on one man.
Punt formation time back live. Dan Matter to punt, Rich Mauti to receive. Less than a minute remaining in the first period. This is inside the 10. It's going to be down to around the 5. Mauti comes up for about 2 yards from the 5 to 7. Penn State has yet to record a first down. Penn State has yet to get across midfield. Iowa has totally dominated this football game. We might have time for one more play as Larry Suey comes in at fullback. One more play in the first quarter. 2nd down and 8 from the Penn State 7.
We might remember something. This was Penn State's time with the win, and they didn't get the ball at all, so that's going to be quite different in the second quarter.
Mauti. He got maybe a yard or 2.
Iowa
He ran into Shanty Burks, a defensive back who made a great play. And we've reached the end of the first quarter here in Iowa City. With the score, Iowa 3, Penn State nothing. We'll be back right after this. Penn State 3rd and 6. Penn State 9-yard line as the second quarter begins. This is Donovan. And he has a first down. And if it is a first down at the 16-yard line, it is. And this is Penn State's first down of the game as Shanty Burks makes the tackle.
Let's watch Donovan, the freshman, make Penn State's first down. He gets outside, makes a good cut here, and gets the first down just by a yard or so.
The big block was provided, I believe, Max, by Tom Rafferty.
And that's not unusual for Mr. Rafferty to make a key block.
Would you believe second quarter is underway and Penn State has its first down of the game. Barvinchak wide right. Suey is in the backfield along with Donovan and Mauti. Suey and a marker down. Suey got about 2 yards, but a marker went flying.
See, I noticed that Penn State seems to be a quicker team than Iowa, even though Iowa's had the ball all the time. Somewhere along the line, this quickness of Penn State's going to show up. And these young, fast backs they got, they're going to break something open here before long.
Penalty against Iowa. Moves the ball to the Penn State 21-yard line. The infraction, offside. So first down and 5 now for Penn State. At the Nittany line, 21, as Joe Paterno. He has to be the calmest looking man and maybe the calmest man, at least externally, in a similar situation.
That he is.
1st and 5. This is Donovan. Loss of a yard. Tremendous penetration by Nate Washington with the tackle made by linebacker Andre Jackson. And we've heard about Jackson, haven't we, Max?
We call him Wild Man Jackson.
He made 30 unassisted tackles in Iowa's first 2 games. Mickey Schuler, number 82 from Enola, comes in now for Penn State. Donovan goes wide right. 2nd down 6 at the Penn State 20. Two yards for Rich Mauti. It's going to be 3rd down and 4, as again, it's Jackson, the linebacker. Watch him, number 20. He calls the defensive signal.
Okay, I think Penn State might go back to some of those quick openers that they've been successful with against Ohio State and Stanford. Some of those plays that are taking that long to get the line of scrimmage, they've been overpowered somewhat by Iowa defense.
Barvinchak to the left. 3rd and 4. Barvinchak might go all the way. He was caught, and a marker is down at the 48-yard line of Iowa. He was caught from behind by defensive back Jim Caldwell at the 3-yard line of Iowa, but a marker is down. Now the marker is still down at the 48-yard line of Iowa, so we'll await developments.
I think there's a chance it was defensive interference, which means they'll take the play on down to the 5-yard line, but I'm not sure of that, but there was some contact right when he went up and took the ball away from the defensive man. You won't see a better play than that in a long time.
That's right. It is, of course, declined, the interference penalty.
You can see here, Barvinchak, when he goes up for the ball, the defensive halfback comes on his back, and they call interference right here, but he caught it anyway. And that's really keeping your eye glued on the ball. They call him for interference, but, of course, Penn State takes the ball at the 4-yard line.
Roger Steck was the man ruled guilty of interference, but it's academic. It didn't mean anything. It's first and goal, Penn State, at the Iowa 3. Suey at fullback, Mauti behind him in an I formation now, with Donovan way out to the right. Mauti battles his way to the 2. And Shanty Burks, number 49 from the secondary, was the Hawkeye, mainly responsible for stopping the play. Gain of 1. Host of new defenders going in, 3 in all for Bob Elliott is going into the secondary, number 21. He's the number 18. He's the son of the Iowa athletic director, Bump Elliott. It's second and goal at the 2. Taylor to the 1. And into Mark Phillips, a big defensive lineman.
They put in their goal line defense, and they got a lot of corn-fed beef in the middle of that line, believe me.
Incidentally, those of us covering the game today are the guests, as far as food is concerned, of the Iowa Pork Producers Association, and they're having quite a little mini celebration here today. The ball is at the 1.5-yard line. It is third and goal. Iowa is leading 3-0 second quarter. About a few inches shy is Mauti. It's going to be 4th down and about 6 inches.
Here comes the coach's decision. What to do right here. Do you go for the 3, cinch 3 and tie it up, or do you go for the 6? We'll find out in just a minute.
Joe Paterno is sending in Dwayne Taylor, and they're going for 6.
That sounds like a Penn State football club right there.
4th and inches. Mauti, Donovan, and Taylor in a straight T. Touchdown for Taylor. Went in behind Rafferty and Benson. So Penn State takes the lead, and one big play set it up.
Let's watch Taylor. Right over his left tackle. There's a big hole there. He got excellent blocking at the hole.
Barvinchak will hold, and Bahr will try for Penn State's 7th point with 11:10 left to play in the first half. So Penn State takes the lead. With the score, Penn State 7, Iowa 3. We'll be back right after this.
Like these. Same place I get mine. Commercial credit. They lent millions for a bunch of diesels. I got $1,000 for my daughter's wedding. You know, when you think about it, if you need $1,000, it just makes sense to get it from the kind of pros who lend millions. And I mean millions.
The place to borrow $1,000 is from the people who lend millions. Commercial credit.
Hi, Bill. How are you? Hey, you been on a diet? Looks like you've lost 400 pounds.
Introducing a new, smaller Dodge. Dodge Coronet. It's like a big Dodge that's been on a diet. Coronet's lighter than a big car, so it costs less to drive. And the sticker price is lighter than a big car's. Coronet. It's like a big Dodge that's been on a diet.
What a shape!
Number 1 for the money is Dodge.
So Penn State is leading 7-3. 11:10 left to play in the first half. Bahr will kick to a threesome of Schultz, Schick, and Jensen. Every once in a while, the wind seems to die down just a little bit. This is Schick fumbling the ball and picking it up at the 3. So Iowa will be pinned deep in Hawkeye territory as Schick is nailed inside the 10. Bill Banks was the first of the Nittany Lions to reach Schick.
These Iowa receivers are having trouble getting a handle on these kickoffs. That hit him in a bad place, of course, right in his chest, and he's having trouble picking up that ball. That ball is very valuable when you're down inside your own 10-yard line.
Iowa from the Iowa 8. Wing tee to the right. Holmes, the fullback, behind that big Hawkeye line, ran into Ron Coder, but again out across the 10 to the 12-yard line. Greg Buttle was in on the play as well. Sidler is in defensively, 25. Coder, 65. Quinn, 90. Crosby, 64. Odell and Johnson are the defensive halfbacks. McLaughlin is nailed for a loss by Ron Hostetler of Bolsapo. Loss of about a yard, and at the 11-yard line for Iowa. It is third down and 7. I'm sorry, third and 7.
I noticed on that touchdown a while ago that they went right over Brad Benson and Tom Rafferty, and this Brad Benson and the other tackle, George Rayner, are really two outstanding football players.
Hilgenberg over the ball, flanked by Devlin and Butler. Walters and Laddick are the tackles. Wellington in motion. And McLaughlin way overthrew Bill Schultz. One thing that Iowa's been lacking has been consistency in its passing attack. McLaughlin has been able, up until today, to complete just 7 of 25 passes. So it is punt formation time for Dan Matter.
It's hard to distinguish that pass between a pass and a souvenir as it went directly into the stands.
Peter Kuski is back along with Rich Mauti as Matter punts from the end zone. Good punt. Rich Mauti back at the 36 of Penn State. Trying to get outside. He's at the 50, and he's out of bounds in Iowa territory. Good run back by Rich Mauti.
Penn State can beat you so many ways. If you stop one thing, they can immediately go to something else. They're so capable of breaking punts and kickoffs.
Penn State has the lead. With the score, Penn State 7, Iowa 3. We'll be back right after this. Donovan gets it inside the 45. Woody Petchel just made his first appearance in the offensive backfield, number 20, lined up as a wing back to the left that time as Donovan picked up 2 yards, and it's second down 8.
Petchel's normally a tailback, but that shows some of the ability for that the coach has of moving these guys around, and they come in and play well anywhere you put them.
Andrus. And wide open is Donovan at the 30. Oh, was he open? Tom Donovan. Scott Fitzke was in that time, a split end. Max, you remember him from last week, don't you?
Well, that's right. He made a great catch last week. This is a good pattern right here, and John Andrus is rolling to the left is the hardest way to throw the ball, and he's right on target. I talked to his mom and dad last night. They drove all the way over to see him play today. That makes you feel awfully good.
First down, Penn State, Iowa 30-yard line. Suey picks up about 4 yards, and Penn State now, as you suspected, Max, is beginning to take advantage of superior quickness.
I think that's what they have. They're probably not as big as Iowa, but they do have that quickness, and they have that great array of backs that they can keep. It's not Dwayne Taylor, it's Suey, and if it's not Donovan, it's Malott, which we haven't seen yet, but somewhere along the line today we're going to see another rookie, Rich Malott.
Second down, 6. Donovan got a block from Rafferty right there, and he squirms to within about 3 yards of a first down at the 23-yard line, where he ran into nose guard Dave Bryant. Hawkeye defense has Washington, Ben Scoter, Bryant, Marsh, Phillips up front, Jackson and Armington the linebackers, Steck and Elliott the cornerbacks, Penny and Burks the safety men. It is a 3rd down and 3.5 for Penn State. Andrus on the run to Donovan, wide open, out of bounds at the 11. Bob Elliott, the defensive left halfback, forced him out of bounds.
That was the identical play that they ran to the left side and completed just a minute ago. So he turned around. We'll see it again. You'll see the identical play to the right. It's an easier pass to throw, but they don't cover him much closer than that. I think we'll see that play again before long.
1st down at the 11-yard line of Iowa. This time, Donovan goes out wide to the left, and the right halfback, Roger Steck, goes out to cover him. Barvinchak is off to the right. Up the middle, Woody Petchel. Inside the 10 to the 7.5 for a Met linebacker, Wildman Jackson.
He got a good block there from Mark Thomas, the right guard, and that play was just one man away from breaking right into the end zone. So that's how close Penn State's getting to break, put something on the scoreboard again.
2nd down 7 coming up. We're just past the midway point of the 2nd quarter. Suey will line up directly in front of tailback Woody Petchel. This is Petchel. He's down to within a yard of a 1st down at the 2-yard line. From the secondary, Burks made the tackle, and Woody did a great job of picking a hole that time.
Let's watch Woody here. He's almost trapped behind the line. He slides off 2 men right here and gets almost into the end zone. You know, they can make a 1st down without scoring also, which would be very important if it got that close.
It's 3rd down, 1 yard away from a 1st down, 1.5 yards away from a touchdown. And at this point, Penn State elects to ask for a timeout with 6:31 left to play in the 1st half. Penn State is leading by a score of 7-3. Well, Max, based on what you heard about this Iowa team, could you see now why people kept referring to them as a hard luck team? Now, they totally controlled the 1st quarter.
They go up and down the field between the 20s with no problem. For some reason, something uncanny happens when they get in scoring territory. And of course, against Penn State, you don't make many mistakes. And the fumbles and things that's happened to Iowa, like you say, maybe it's a jinx team. But who knows? Penn State, you know, they take advantage of all mistakes, which is a mark of a real good team.
So far in passing, Barvinchak has caught 3 for 100 yards. Just about ready to go again. Woody Petchel will be the tailback. Larry Suey will be the fullback. Petchel 20, Suey 35. Tom Donovan will be the wingback. Andrus at quarter. Schuler, number 82, will be the tight end. Barvinchak, number 16, will be a wide receiver. Now Stutz and Schuler are both in. 2 tight ends. 3rd and 1. Iowa 1.5. Petchel, touchdown. Woody Petchel gets it in for Penn State's 2nd touchdown of the game. And I just now spotted the fans who are here to follow the Nittany Lions. Across the field, I saw about a couple of hundred people standing up and cheering as Penn State went into the end zone for the 2nd time.
Here comes Woody Petchel following number 69, Mark Thomas, who was instrumental on several games that Petchel made in that drive.
Bahr will try for the 14th Penn State point. And it's promptly posted on the scoreboard here at Kinnick Stadium. With the score, Penn State 14, Iowa 3. We'll be back right after this. Bahr will be kicking to the same threesome as before. Jensen, Schick, and Schultz, with Schick number 39 in the middle at the goal line. And it's out of bounds. So we'll do it all over again, but this time it'll be from the Penn State 35.
soccer and football at the same time. This year, of course, he's used his eligibility up in soccer, and this year he's only playing football. And doing it quite well. He'll probably make All-American as a kicker. He made All-American in soccer, so that's unusual for a young man.
6:28 remaining in the first half. So Penn State preparing to kick off after a 5-yard penalty for kicking the ball out of bounds on the first attempt following Penn State's second touchdown, and the Nittany Lions kick off with a 14-3 lead just past the midway point of the second quarter. Jim Jensen at the 10. Gang tackled, and that's what you have to do to bring down Jensen. Marker down at the 42-yard line of Iowa. Jackson. Andre Jackson and Jeff Height got into a bit of an altercation around the 42-yard line. Nothing serious, but a marker went flying. So let's see what we have. The officials are talking with Penn State. Ball is down at the Iowa 31-yard line.
Maybe that's why they call him Wildman Jackson. Andre Wildman Jackson.
Personal foul against Iowa. Personal foul against Penn State. So, penalties offset each other. First down Iowa, 31-yard line of the Hawkeyes. Smoogen, Coder, Quinn, Crosby, Kristen, Buttle, Wanamaker, Hostetler, Johnson, Odell, Peter Kuski, the Penn State defense. This is Ron Schick turning it back inside and gets about 5 yards.
Iowa has not had trouble. They've not had trouble moving the ball on the ground. They're getting good blocking up front, and they got some big, strong running backs. You'll see right here. When he turns that corner, he turns it on. First there's Greg Buttle and a host of others to meet him after he made 5 yards.
A gain of almost 6. Second down 4, Iowa. Hawkeyes, of course, have to be aware of how much time remains in the first half. Less than 6 minutes. The fullback Holmes this time, and there's a marker down. There may have been illegal motion on the part of Iowa. Ron Coder made the tackle after a very short game by the Iowa fullback. Well, whether she's a Penn State fan or not, Max, but she Penn State's colors and an Iowa band.
And a great seat on a great day.
Penn State apparently has the option here of having second and about 9 or third and approximately 4. Rod Wellington is coming into the game at 41, right halfback. Jim McNulty will be a wide receiver, number 87. No legal procedure is accepted by Penn State as we look at Bob Cummings, the head coach of Iowa, the gentleman with the glasses just kneeling down. Second and 9. This is Wellington. Penn State gives, but not all the way. The game is out to the 38-yard line. Hostetler and Peter Kuski made the tackle. It is going to be third down and 3. The Iowa 38. In comes Nate Winston. Wanamaker leaves for Penn State. Rosecrans replaces him.
You know, after Iowa won the first quarter, it looks like Penn State winning the second quarter.
14-3 is the score. Penn State leading. Winston in motion. Fumble. Winston picks it up, and oh, was he cracked by Mike Johnson. Ooh, Johnson really put a shoulder into Winston. Fourth down. The first 2 times the Hawkeyes had the football, they were able to gain almost at will on the ground. But Penn State has corrected, and the Hawkeyes, the last 2 possessions, have not been able to do much of anything. Peter Kuski and Mauti are back for the anticipated punt from Dan Matter.
The
will be punting from around the Iowa 25-yard line. With a little better than 4 minutes left to play in the first half. Good punt. Mauti, fair catch, 17-yard line. So Penn State will have the football in the closing moments of the first half. It's a very brilliant sun that one must look into if you're going from left to right.
I noticed when they were warming up, they were having trouble catching the football looking into that sun. It is hard.
Well, Sever Toretti, Tor Toretti, the last time we chatted with you was all the Hawkeyes. Things have changed.
We had down early in the first quarter, kind of got our defensive tackles to hesitate on the line of scrimmage, and that's why Iowa was able to move the ball. But we've settled down now a little bit on defense, and I believe we're going to start to penetrate and try to contain that running game.
Okay, Tor Toretti. Woody Petro comes out to the 22-yard line for a gain of almost 5 before he met defensive end Dean Moore, number 85.
You know what Tor said is so true of Penn State. They see what's wrong, they make the adjustments, and they're always better in the second quarter. Last week, Ohio State was moving the ball almost at will, and before you know it, the game was under control. So that's part of Penn State's action.
Petro, wing back right. Donovan. Across the 25-yard line, and Penn State will have a 3rd and 2. And Iowa's going to make a change. Iowa is making a change where Dave Bryant comes in at nose guard, replacing Lenny Paterno, who was in for a little while at that spot in the middle of the front wall. 3rd and 2, Penn State at the Penn State 26. Straight key in the backfield. 2 tight ends. Andrus, he wanted to throw to tight end Dave Stutz, but off target, and it's 4th down. He looked over the middle at first, didn't he, Max?
Right, unless somebody made a mistake. He only had the one receiver out there in Stutz, and there was a host of Iowa. He didn't fool Iowa at all.
Bahr into punt. Bob Elliott, Rick Penny are the twin return men for the Hawkeyes. Penny at the 38. Boy, what beautiful coverage of that punt as Brad Benson was the first man down. John Bush was there. One of the Hawkeyes hurt on that play. 38-yard punt. With great coverage by Penn State. Forced Penny deep. We have not been able to pick up the number of the injured Hawkeye with 2:46 left to play in the first half. And as Max McGee said, first quarter belonged to Iowa, and the second quarter so far has Bob Elliott, the son of athletic director Bump Elliott, is the Hawkeye down on the field. He's the defensive left halfback for the Hawkeyes. Penalty against
where the coaches always fear on the punt returns and kickoff returns where people get hurt. It has to be done, but that's the coaches have more fear of losing valuable ball players on those teams than any other part of the game.
And on that kickoff, or that kick return, the punt return, a 15-yard penalty for clipping measured off against Iowa. That's the reason for the ball being back at the 18-yard line. And a stretcher is being called for here. Young Bob Elliott have to get more than just passing attention here. A crowd today was expected of around 55,000. And you just, there's no way you could schedule a more perfect afternoon to watch football than the one we have here today at Iowa City.
Absolutely perfect. Very bright, temperature 70 degrees, and a lot of good football players.
Next week, homecoming. Kentucky at University Park. When play is resumed, as it will be in just a moment, it will be first down Iowa at the Iowa 18-yard line with 2 minutes and 46 seconds remaining in the first half. Hawkeyes are ready, 1st and 10 from the Iowa 18-yard line. Late in this first half, Penn State leading 14-3. McLaughlin under heavy pressure. Down he goes inside the 10. From Ron Crosby and Ron Coder. And a loss all the way back to the 9-yard line. And it's going to be 2nd down and 19.
Boy, how fast it changes. For a while, you've got control of the game and a little momentum, and then a long pass, which Penn State hit, and all at once the momentum changes, and you can't do anything.
Ed Donovan in at right halfback, and Tony Petruccio in at tackle. This is Donovan, the wingback. Out to the 15-yard line for a gain of 6, where it will be 3rd and 13. He ran to Zmugin and Buttle. So Penn State at this moment in control of action here at Kinnick Stadium. After a first quarter that had Penn State fans here at Iowa City wondering what in the world is going on. This is a 3rd and 13 play. Fumble. Eddie Donovan fumbled the football, and it's going to be 4th down. And punt formation time. As Rich Mauti goes back deep, he'll be joined by Gary Peterkuski. Rod Walters, the huge left tackle, recovered Donovan's fumble to save Iowa from further embarrassment. And when this ball is punted away, only about 1 minute or a little bit less will remain in the first half. Dan Motter. What did you say his weight was, Max? Did you notice?
The punter?
Yeah.
He's a big boy. He's like 240 pounds. He's only 5'11". He weighs 243 pounds. He hits it, it's going to go somewhere.
Fair catch, Mauti, Penn State 45. 44 seconds left in the half. Well, the all-new Penn State Football Television Network would like to know your opinion of our telecasts. We're trying very hard to bring you the telecasts and are interested in knowing if you enjoy watching Penn State football. And here's where we would like to have you write a postcard or a letter to that address. Comments, TCS, Gateway Towers, Pittsburgh, 15222. We'll give it to you a little bit later, that same address. Andrus, a screen to Mauti, but it didn't fool anybody, and Mauti, in fact, stepped out of bounds back around the 40, as a fine defensive play was made by Dean Moore, number 85, the left end. Here's that address again we just gave you to write your comments about our telecast. All of us involved with the telecast would like to hear from you. Comments is the address. TCS, Gateway Towers, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and the zip code 15222. Okay, after that loss of 6 on the screen pass, 2nd down 16 at the Penn State 39. Rich Mauti is caught after a gain of a yard at the 40. It'll be 3rd and 15. Dave Bryant, the Iowa nose guard, made the defensive play. And we might have time for one more play in the first half.
I think Penn State's going to be content to run out the clock. They could go for a bomber here, but for some reason, I think they're just going to run out the clock.
Jim Caldwell, number 21, has replaced Bob Elliott at defensive left halfback for Iowa. This is a 3rd and 15 play. And he's going for Barvinchak, and it's out of bounds. 4th and 15. And there's the gun. The end of the first half here in Iowa City. With the score, Penn State 14 and Iowa 3. We'll be back right after this. Well, Max McGee, what are your impressions of this first half?
Well, it seems funny, right? Penn State goes along, nothing happens, and all at once, bam, bam, it's 14-3. For a while, it looked like Iowa had control of the ball game, and then the catch by Barvinchak, and that turned the game around, gave momentum, and all at once, like I say, it didn't look like Penn State was doing anything, but they take advantage so well of your mistakes that all at once it's 14-3.
And how about adjustments on defense?
Well, I've watched that every week they've played, and they've always been able to come back and make the proper adjustment. As Torres said down on the field, the tackles were maybe not getting off the ball like they should. That was made, adjustment was made immediately, and all at once it's a new ball game.
And speaking of Tortoretti, what are your viewpoints as you stand down on the field to play at Iowa City?
Well, Ray, it was evident that this was a fired-up Iowa football team with a crowd that was behind them 100%. And they played with great emotion. And at the beginning, when our team went offside there, it gave them further momentum. You know, that old word momentum always enters, but in this case, it has very much the truth. And once our defensive personnel, or down people, got accustomed to the starting count of Iowa, then our defense began to get control of the game. I think, as Mac said, the pass to Barvinchak, of course, broke the game. I believe that our passing attack could go further, and Joe may rely on that more the second half. We're back to the booth.
Time festivities. Here at halftime, Penn State leading Iowa. With a score, Penn State 14 and Iowa 3. We'll be back right after this. Well, Max McGee, what do you learn in gazing at the first half statistics?
Well, for one thing, I learned that they don't mean much, except Penn State's passing yardage, 96, Iowa none. Running-wise, of course, the game was even, and that's about the way the game looked in the first half, but yet it's 14-3 Penn State. So the big deal has been the passing of Penn State.
Iowa, in the person of Nick Quataro, will kick off to Penn State as we start the second half. Penn State leading 14-3. Mauti, Donovan, and Taylor, a threesome back to receive. Penn State will be working into the wind in this third quarter.
I might add that all scoring has come into the wind today.
Rich Mauti, 2 yards deep. Oh, loose football. And Penn State recovered.
He was collared by 2 brown jerseys. You'll see a tremendous hit on this replay here. And he was very alert football player to get this ball back. You watch right here. You won't get hit any harder than that. And to be able to recover and get that ball back was a big play by Mauti.
He took it away from a defensive back by the name of Chuck Dancy. Barvinchak to the right, who caught the big pass and changed the game around in the first half, is wide right. Dwayne Taylor gets it out to the 19-yard line.
That's Dwayne Taylor's favorite quick opener right over Rafferty and Brad Benson. It's been breaking it week after week. And at that time, Iowa stopped it.
Gain of 4, second down 6. Schuler is lined up at tight end on the left side. Here comes Taylor. All the way out to the 48-yard line before Jim Caldwell, playing in place of the injured Bob Elliott, made the tackle. That's worth another look.
It's hard to contain Dwayne Taylor for any length of time. He hits that hole so quick and made a tremendous cut back there, and he's just a step away from going all the way.
All the way out to the 48-yard line, a 28-yard run. Donovan goes left. Roger Steck, the right halfback, picks him up. This is Woody Petchel for short yardage, just across the 50. Gain of 2, it'll be second down 8 as nose guard Dave Bryant made the tackle for Iowa.
On that last run by Taylor, it's a great block by George Rayner and Mark Thomas, I might add.
The right side of the Penn State line. Thomas from Elizabeth, PA, and Rayner from Washington, PA. Barvinchak comes wide right. Double wing. There goes Taylor. short yardage to the 47. It's going to be 3rd and 5 as Armington, the right linebacker, and Washington, the defensive right end, made the stop.
You know, Ray, when you mention big plays in a football game, there's not as many as people think. Sometimes there's only one, sometimes there's 5, but the good football teams always seem to make them because they're always at the right place at the right time. Today, the big play, of course, the pass to Barvinchak, and that's the way Penn State plays football.
3rd and 5. Petchel. First down. Woody Petchel turned what could have been a loss or a no-gain sort of a play into a fine run on a first down, and one of the Hawkeyes is hurt. Defensive end Dean Moore is down.
Let's watch a run by Petchel here and watch the blocking. Actually, when he got outside, he got a good downfield block, and of course, there comes our usual man leading the play.
Moore shaken up on the play. Petchel's first down carries Penn State to the Iowa 35-yard line. The Hawkeyes lost defensive left halfback Bob Elliott by injury late in the first half, and we have not received any report as to the extent of his injury, although he had to be taken from the field on a stretcher. Now it's defensive end Dean Moore who is injured. And the Hawkeyes need every able-bodied man, with Southern California coming up next week and Ohio State the following week.
That's 3 of the toughest games you could schedule of anybody in the country to play Penn State, Southern Cal, and Ohio State. I don't think any team in the country has that kind of schedule, and that takes, you're right, every able-bodied man you can get plus a few extra.
1st and 10, Penn State, Iowa 35-yard line. Some of the folks who are gathered on the hillside between the conventional stands here at Kinnick Stadium, Iowa City. Tom Donovan, who caught a couple of big passes in the first half, is out wide to the right. This is a first down play, and it is Taylor for 2 yards.
Taylor, the ball carrier. You know, the fans didn't see it, but at the beginning of the game, I think we had a streaker here at Kinnick Stadium.
I thought they were kidding. I had my back turned, but I checked later, Max, and sure enough, it was a streaker, and he wasn't scheduled, and he did carry a banner. He may not have had any clothing, but he had a banner. I don't know what it said. 2nd and 8. Donovan gains 1 yard. Shanny Burks in the secondary made the tackle. Incidentally, Dwayne Taylor has picked up 36 yards running here in the second half. Penn State has a 3rd down and almost 7 to go from the Iowa 32-yard line.
Big first down for Penn State in a position where you made a drive go this far. To get a first down and keep it going is very important at this stage.
It'll be out of a double wing with Petchel in motion. Incomplete. Barvinchak with Steck defending, and it's 4th down, and onto the field comes Chris Bahr, who will apparently try his first field goal of the day. It'll be an attempt of about 50 yards, maybe 49 yards. Now, Iowa's Nick Quataro tied the stadium record here with a 50-yard field goal in the first half. This will be an attempt of 49. The distance is not quite enough. Just about a yard shy, and Iowa stops Penn State and will take over the football with 11:27 to go in the 3rd quarter. We'll be back right after this.
The Iowa fans are getting restless. They'd like to see some offense from this Iowa team. They show signs of doing something, and then it bogs down. And the Iowa fans are getting a little impatient. They'd like to see somebody break something.
Senior quarterback Butch Caldwell of Dayton, Ohio is in the game. And he hands off to Dave Schick. And Schick gets about 2 yards out to 22 following the touchback on the missed field goal by Penn State. Ron Hostetler from Bolsapo made the tackle.
I think you like that word, Ray, that Say that again.
Holsapple. I'm one of the very few people in this booth, I'll bet you, who's ever been in Holsapple and knows exactly where it is.
Well, I'll agree with that.
Second down and 9 at the Iowa 21. Wellington in motion. And Holmes comes up short of the 25-yard line. It's going to be 3rd and 6 for Iowa. Jim Rosecrans made the tackle for Penn State.
You know, Coach Cummings said we might see another quarterback today. Like I say, Iowa's quarterback hasn't been that successful with the pass, and so there's a chance that we may see somebody in place of Tom McLaughlin if they have to go for, if they have to start throwing the ball.
Let's see if Caldwell can throw. It looks like a passing situation. No. First down for Mark Fetter, who takes the pitch out beyond the 30 before Gary Peterkusky made the tackle as Fetter broke one tackle.
It's the option play, and he's got him outside, and he makes a great effort here to get the first down. He gets away from one man and gets away from another man and just dives for the first down.
So the Hawkeyes pick up a first down at the Iowa 31. Early in the second half, Penn State with a 14-3 lead. Oh, Fetter bursts through to the 38-yard line.
A little better footing, and he might have gone the distance. He just stumbled getting through the line, and at that point he was almost untouched.
Gain of 7, second down 3. Holmes is back in place of Fetter. Jensen, number 22, is the left halfback. Wellington is the wingback right. Wellington in motion, and this is Wellington, and he's going to lose to the 35. And Dennis Mugen, Shamokin, Greg Buttle. Made the stop for Penn State, and here are the Hawkeyes with a 3rd and 6. Nate Winston, number 40, is carrying in the play selection. He'll be the right halfback when Iowa lines up. Winston is a wingback right. Caldwell off target, intended for Brant Yoakum, but incomplete, and it is 4th down and 6, and the Hawkeyes will apparently have to give up the football with 8:35 left to play in the 3rd quarter. Dan Motter, the punter.
Iowa seems to, when they go back to pass, they seem to force that ball, and possibly maybe there's some indecision as to where to throw the ball. These quarterbacks just don't seem to have quite the experience to be able to get that ball into the guy that they're looking for.
Iowa has yet to complete a pass. Big rush, and Peterkusky, here's a marker down. The punter was run into as Mauti comes out of bounds. But Motter was run into, and Iowa will keep the football.
That's one of those plays that really set back the defense. You stop them, you make them punt, you got to roughen the kicker, and you got to do it all over again. That's really kind of the morale factor, even though Peterkusky had a good chance to block that, and he just came a little too close and hit the punter's foot while it's still in the air.
First down, Iowa at midfield. So Joe Paterno gets a chance to pace. His Nittany Lions are leading 14-3, but a lot of time left. 8:26, 3rd quarter. Schultz wide right. Jensen wing back left. This is Wellington for 4 yards. Ran into Mugen and Buttle. Ernie Sheeler is in the backfield now, number 37.
It's amazing how an offense, you can have them in the hole and you can have them down, and then a little spark like that, and all at once you got your hands full again. That happened in the 1st quarter, and it could be happening again in the 3rd quarter.
Second down and 6. Sheeler in motion, but Holmes comes straight ahead, and it'll be about a 3rd and 2.5 for Iowa as John Quinn stopped the play, but not before Holmes picked up about 4 yards. Third down, 2.5. You know, I've reached a point here, Max, in my thinking, where I don't expect Iowa to even try and throw the football. They've had so little success passing, such great success running.
That's right. Their passing attack has been completely futile, but I think they'll put it up in the air when they have to.
This is Wellington, and he has a first down. He's out of bounds at the Penn State 37-yard line.
You can see on the replay here, they got good outside blocking. One man took 2 men out of the play. If he hadn't ran out of sideline, he'd have been gone a long way.
Randy Sidler, number 25, has replaced Zamujin at defensive right end. It's a first down for Iowa at the Penn State 38-yard line. McNulty is split left. Caldwell, I don't know whether that was intended to be a little delay by the quarterback or whether the fumbled snapback had something to do with it. At any rate, it's a very short game as Coder clasped Caldwell after a gain of a yard. 2nd and 9.
There was some confusion on that play. They did have Rod Wellington for a pitch out, but it looked like maybe either didn't get control or it was a quarterback delay.
Mark Fetter, number 48, replaces Holmes. He lines up at fullback directly behind Caldwell. 2nd and 9. And Fetter gets absolutely nothing. He ran into Sidler and Mike Johnson, Rich Kristen.
Mike Johnson loves to hit. You see him in a lot of head-on tackles. This young man likes to play football.
Ed Myers was in the center of the ball on that last play, but he's immediately replaced by Jim Milgenberg. This is a 3rd down and 9. Short of a first down, as Iowa on 3rd and long yardage still doesn't put the ball in the air. Going to be 4th down.
The fans want them to go for it.
It's 4th and 4 at the Penn State 32.
And they are going for it.
Dave Schick, number 39, is going into the backfield. 4th down and 4. 5:30 left to play, 3rd quarter. Fumble. And down at the 40. And once again, the Hawkeyes in a critical situation make a big mistake. In this case, it cost them the football. And Penn State, for the moment at least, has stopped this Iowa momentum at the Penn State 40. With the score, just a moment, Max, with the score Penn State 14 and Iowa 3, we're going to be back right after this. All right, Penn State at the Penn State 40. Dwayne Taylor gets about 3 or 4 yards, and Max, forgive my very rude interruption there. What were you going to say?
Would you believe I have no idea?
Taylor picks up 3 yards, and for Penn State, a 2nd down and 7.
I was going to say, Ray, it's kind of surprising that after kicking a 50-yard field goal against the wind, that they might not go for that field goal, which would put them in a touchdown and a 2-point extra point of tying this ball game up. I was a little surprised.
Andrus to Barvinchak at the 43-yard line in the grasp of Jim Caldwell, but he was out of bounds. He did not have control inbound.
I think the timing's a little poor here because that should be timed to where he can catch it in bounds. But if you'll see, the ball didn't get there quite in time, and he could get neither foot in the bounds. Of course, in college, 1 foot's enough, but he couldn't get either one of them down.
3rd and 6. Barvinchak to the left. Donovan to the right. Woody Petchel. And a fine play by Dave Bryant, because Petchel had nothing but daylight if he gets by Bryant. Good defensive play. 4th down. Chris Bahr to punt.
Great place to call a draw play, and they almost got a big play there.
This is Penny. getting it out to the 24-yard line, and that's where the Hawkeyes will put it in play. 4:11 left to play, third quarter. Penn State continues to lead. With the score, Penn State 14, Iowa 3. We'll be back right after this. A 5-yard penalty on the last play against Iowa, so forget the punt. It's a first down for Penn State at the Iowa 49. Iowa did something wrong in making a substitution. It was an infraction of the substitution. Andrus now runs for about 5 to the 44 of Iowa. So a very costly 5-yard penalty, and instead of Iowa having the football at the Iowa 24, Penn State retains it with a first down.
Same thing happened to Penn State on that roughing the kicker a while ago, and we'll see if Iowa did not capitalize on it. Let's see if Penn State can capitalize on it.
Second down, a bit more than 5 for a first down. Barvinchak is to the right, and Donovan is a wingback right. Marker went down. I don't know whether a false move was made by Ron Orgenta, the center. It looked as if he started to snap the ball and then hesitated, the way I saw it, Max.
It's a tricky move if they hadn't caught him, but unfortunately they did.
The ball comes back almost to midfield. Illegal procedure makes it a second down 11. Larry Suey comes in and Dwayne Taylor comes out, a change at fullback. Time running out here in the third quarter. We've had no scoring in the period. Barvinchak goes over to the left. Wingback right is Woody Petchel. Wingback left is Donovan. Petchel in motion. Complete to Suey. Short gain. About 5 or 6 yards.
Let's look at Suey coming out of the backfield. He had some men deep, but he saw Suey open for a few yards and he dumped it to him.
Suey gets it inside the 45 at the 44, where it is third down and 5. There's Bob Cummings, the highly successful high school football coach in Ohio before coming here to Iowa. Donovan, first down at the 34. He's been a great receiver today for Penn State.
That was a great catch by Donovan. You see, and he made it. You'll notice here, of course, number one, you've got to get a foot down in bounds, and they've had trouble in the last few passes throwing it in bounds, but here he's well inside. Good catch. Good freshman right there.
First down, Penn State at the Iowa 34. Barvinchak comes out to the wide side of the field, and defensive left halfback Caldwell comes out with him. He's playing him about 7 yards off the line. Taylor gets at most a yard to the 33. Ran into Dave Bryant, the nose guard, plays the middle of the defensive line along with the linebacker Jackson. Kenny Feuerbach, a linebacker, comes in now. John Campbell comes in. Another linebacking change. Out of a double wing, 2nd and 9. Donovan in motion, and he has the football. Struggles to the 30, where it will be third down and 6.
Great pursuit by Iowa defense kept that play from working. It's been a big play for Penn State this year, but on that play, good pursuit will always knock that play off.
Rick Penny out of the secondary was the man who provided that good pursuit, and so as a result, Penn State is faced with a 3rd and 6 at the Iowa 30. Less than 2 minutes remaining in the third period. Suey is the lone back behind Andrus. Gain of a yard, but in position for a field goal attempt by Chris Bahr.
Into this wind, being a soccer-style kicker, you get that ball up in the air high. This wind really kills it. So he's still going to be kicking from about 45, 46 yards.
Barvinchak will hold. 45-yard attempt. Oh, he has the distance this time. And he's on target. Chris Bahr adds to his fantastic record at Penn State, putting 3 more points on the board with 1:05 left to play in the third quarter. Well, that's been our only scoring here in the third period. The field goal by Chris Bahr. There was some conjecture prior to the game that with the record here for distance being 50 yards, that Bahr would be almost a shoo-in. But as it turns out, the Iowa kicker, Nick Quataro, tied that record with a 50-yard field goal for the first score of the game. Sever Toretti, how do you view the happenings here in the third quarter?
Well, Ray, on that first field goal attempt by Bahr, he hit a little bit under it, kind of like a chip shot 9-iron. But the penalty back there when we punted, Penn State noticed that the Iowa was slow getting off the field on exchange of players, so we quickly lined up and snapped punt. We'll practice that in cases such as this, and of course it paid off.
Well, that explains the penalty then.
Right.
It wasn't an illegal substitution.
No.
Just the fact they had too many players on the field.
Too many players on the field. Back to the booth.
Okay, Toretti. Bahr ready to kick.
Who would think about that other than Joe Paterno?
Penn State kicking off with 1:05 left to play in the third quarter, and this is Dave Schick at the goal line. 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, great run back. Tom Giotto prevented an even longer run back by Dave Schick, who has an outstanding record as a kick return specialist here in the Big Ten. So Iowa, as a result, is at the Iowa 42. Great field position. Tom McLaughlin, the sophomore, number 11 now, has returned to the quarterback position. McLaughlin on first down, and oh, what a hit by linebacker Ron Hostetler on tight end. Was it Tommy Odell? Brant Yoakum. Tommy Odell, number 10, really nailed Brant Yoakum.
He jarred the ball loose. We'll see right here that Odell, twice today, Odell has been right at the right spot at the right time and really knocked people loose from the ball.
New quarterback, Butch Caldwell. Iowa has passed 5 times, has yet to complete 1. 52 seconds left, third quarter. Second down, 10. This is Wellington. First down. Run out of bounds by Gary Peter Kuski inside Penn State territory.
These big backs of Iowa, when they get turned down that field, they make a lot of yardage. It takes, you got to hit them to get them down. And they did.
So it's first down, Iowa, at the Penn State 45-yard line in the final 1 minute of the third quarter. Fetter gets about 4 yards on first down to take it to the 40, and probably time for one more play in the third quarter. Caldwell comes in. Wellington comes in instead of Winston, so a new right halfback and a new quarterback on second down and 6 at the Penn State 40. Wellington again, but this time a fine defensive play by John Quinn, the tackle, and Mike Johnson, the cornerback. And the final seconds are ticking away in the third quarter. Right there is the end of the third quarter. With the score, Penn State 17 and Iowa 3. We'll be back right after this. We understand that some of the very special friends of our executive producer, Nelson Goldberg, are watching this game back in Pittsburgh. Sorry you can't be here in Iowa City, fellas. Ladies, you're missing a beautiful afternoon and a hard-fought football game.
Bring your golf clubs next week to State College.
Homecoming next week. Ball is at the 39-yard line of Penn State. Another moment of truth for Iowa. Third down, 4.5. Penn State has so far been able to keep Iowa from, or else you could say Iowa just hasn't been able to complete a pass, not one. This is Schick. And he's very close to a first down with a tremendous effort.
Schick is a very hard runner. And he got the first down.
Iowa has picked up 133 yards on the ground. Penn State has picked up 136. But in the air, it's all Penn State. First down, Iowa. Penn State 34-yard line. McLaughlin back in at quarterback, number 11, the sophomore, and replacing the senior Caldwell. Schick, the left. Holmes, the fullback. Winston, the wingback, in motion. And that was Holmes, and did he get belted by Jim Rosecrans?
That is really meeting them right at the line of scrimmage. Jim Rosecrans put a shoulder right in the gut, and that was the end of that play.
Senior Jim Rosecrans from Camillus, New York.
He's making up for those 2 offsides earlier, I think, right? He's been playing a tremendous game.
Gain of 1, second down 9, as Wellington, who has fine speed and good size, the right halfback, number 41, is going to line up as the wingback just outside the right end. Second and 9. And this is Schick, short yardage. Iowa is going to have a 3rd and 7. Ron Crosby and Tommy Odell teamed up to stop that play. Odell from Summit, New Jersey, and Crosby out of Glassport.
Well, if history stands up, Iowa may go all 4 downs here to try to make a first down, as they did going the other direction, and it's 17-3 now, so we might, if they don't make it this down, we might see another 4th down attempt.
3rd and 7. Wellington goes in motion. McLaughlin still has the ball. Marker is down. He has a first down at the 20, inside the 20, but a marker down at the 33-yard line of Iowa. Tommy Odell made the tackle on the quarterback. Offside, Penn State. First down, Iowa inside the 20. This game is a long way from being over. The ball at the 19.5-yard line, and we have over 13 minutes left in the game.
It's a good call and a good run by Tom McLaughlin.
Winston checks in place of Wellington. Tom DePeso comes in. Change at linebacker. Steve Wanamaker comes in. Another linebacking change for Penn State. First down, Iowa. Schick twists to the 16. In the grasp of Hostetler and Quinn. But these big Iowa backs are just not to be denied. They have been most impressive.
The only problem, which isn't really a problem, it's great to control the ball, but it's so hard to make an 80-yard drive when you can't throw the ball, because the chances of holding or jumping off sides are great. So somewhere along the line, you need a big gainer, either a pass or some way to get it down the field.
This is a 2nd and 6 play, and this is Schick. Belted down at the 10. It's going to be 3rd and 1. Tommy Odell made the tackle, but not before a good run. This is going to be close enough to call for a measurement just inside the 10.
Hard-working Dave Schick is getting the handle of the ball a lot today. He runs the kickoffs, the punts, and here he is around right in for a good gain and a first down, 1st and goal.
They're going to measure here, Max. I'm not positive it's a first down.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Very close. A couple of feet away, a couple of inches, whatever. It's very close, just inside the 10. 3rd down coming up. Time left in the game, 12 minutes, 22 seconds. And I'll tell you something. I just have the feeling that if Iowa goes in to score here, Max, we're just going to see the doggonest finish of a football game you'll ever want to see.
Iowa's, they're very much enthused about this game right now. They're standing up on the sideline, the coaches and everybody. They still think they got a good shot to win this football game.
An additional defensive lineman, Petruccio, number 66, is in for Penn State. 3rd and less than a yard for a first down at the Penn State 9.5. I have no idea why Iowa came up off the line of scrimmage. A sneak for the first down by McLaughlin. First and goal behind Rod Walter and Joe Devlin, the huge left tackle and left guard, respectively, of Iowa.
Well, Iowa, who has had trouble making big plays, are now in a position where they've got to get this ball over the goal line on this series to really be in the ball game. So we'll find out now if maybe the Iowa jinx has changed or not.
First and goal at the Penn State 8 1/2. Wellington trying to get outside. Mike Johnson had a shot at him, and he's run out of bounds at just almost exactly the line of scrimmage by Gary Peter Kuski. So no gain. And it'll be second and goal at the 9, and that's worth another go-round.
This big man has speed. He's the angle here, and he outruns
Mike Johnson there.
Mike Johnson, yeah, right. Makes it back to the line of scrimmage. Otherwise, it's about an 8-yard loss.
Second and goal at the Penn State 9. The Nittany Lion is upset. McLaughlin at the 10, 6. Hostetler and Odell made the play. It is third and goal at the 6. And of course, just about every time there's a running play, unless the runner goes out of bounds, as Wellington did a moment ago, 30 valuable seconds are lost. Notice the goal line there. That's what Penn State is trying to protect, as it's third and goal at the 6. Schultz is wide to the left. Straight T in the backfield. McLaughlin, 5, touchdown. Behind Devlin and Walter, Iowa scores a touchdown.
Definitely pass or run. He had 2 men in the end zone, but he saw a big hole, as you'll see, and he ran it right into the end zone. But he did have pass receivers in the end zone.
So all of a sudden, it is a 17-9 game. Reichart will hold for Quataro. Almost 11 minutes remaining to be played. And Iowa's right back in the ball game. With the score, Penn State 17, Iowa 10. We'll be back right after this. $52,780 are here at Kinnick Stadium. We have 10:54 left in the game. Penn State leading 17-10, and Iowa's fired up. The fans have come alive as Quataro prepares to kick to Mauti, Donovan, or Taylor. Mauti to the 26-yard line. So now let's see what Penn State can do offensively against an Iowa team that just has to be fired up. A team that is hungry for victory after 2 tough losses to Illinois and Syracuse.
I think Iowa is fired up, and I think Penn State is going to have to get something going on this drive.
Out of a double wing. Ball batted in the air, almost intercepted. Dave Bryant, the nose guard, batted that Andrus pass, and it was almost intercepted, and it's second down and 10.
They were trying to go to Barvinchak deep. They wanted that 7 points back right off the bat, and he was going for the bomb right there.
Andrus had excellent protection, but Bryant got his hand up. And with 10:44 left, it is second and 10 Penn State at the Penn State 26. Donovan to the right and Barvinchak to the left. This is Mauti to the 30, where it'll be third down and 6.
Now you have to wonder if Penn State will come out throwing the football. I think they will. They've got a lot of confidence in John Andrus, and I think they'll throw the football.
That's Mauti's first carry of the football here in the second half. He gained 4 yards. 3rd and 6. He's going for Mauti. Touchdown if he can outrun the defender. He outruns Roger Stack, and Penn State comes up with another big play just as Andrus to Barvinchak turned the game around in the first half. On a 3rd and 6, Rich Mauti teams up with Andrus for a truly big play.
What a great call here by, of course, Joe Paterno calls the play. This is a tremendous call. You expect them to go for the first down, and they go for the bomber, and he's off to the races. From the end zone, you'll see that he ran the post pattern. He is wide open for 6 points. And that's the way the game changes so fast. You work yourself to death for 80 yards and they come back and score in one play.
So 70-yard touchdown pass, extra point Bahr, and just like that, with 10 minutes left, 9:59 to be exact, Penn State, for the moment at least, is back in command. With the score, Penn State 24 and Iowa 10. We'll be back right after this. Penn State preparing to kick off following the 3rd Nittany line touchdown of the game. 10 minutes left to play. Penn State on top by 14 as Chris Bahr comes to the football. Jim Jensen is in the end zone. He's at the 5, 10, 15, and powers his way to the 18 or 19 before he ran into John Bush. Well, let's see if the Hawkeyes can come back after that very startling 70-yard pass and run play.
You know, Rich Mauti started the year as a wingback in place of the injured Jimmy Cephalo against the Temple game. Well, in that following week, Coach Paterno moved him to tailback, and believe it or not, he was at wingback then to make that touchdown. So this is a very versatile young team.
From the Hawkeye 19. McLaughlin to pass. No. Gets back to the line of scrimmage, does McLaughlin, before John Quinn put him down convincingly.
John Quinn.
And it's still Iowa unsuccessful in the air. They have yet to complete a pass.
I'm sure that's not a record, but it's unusual.
Change at linebacker. Jeff Height, number 40 from Pittsburgh, replaces Ron Hostetler. 2nd and 10, Iowa at the Iowa 19. Fumble. Penn State players say Penn State recovered it, and the officials agree. So once again, Iowa makes a mistake and turns the ball over. And Tom Odell, I believe, should be credited with recovering that football with 9:05 left in the game.
The Iowa fans didn't like that call. They thought possibly that back was down before the fumble, but evidently the officials didn't agree, and it's a big break for Penn State.
At the Iowa 27-yard line, 1st and 10. Barvinchak is wide left, out of a double wing this time. Andrus is collared after a gain of 1 by Nate Washington, the end. So 2nd down and 9. And the moments tick away here in the 4th quarter.
Andrus has the option of pitching here to Dwayne Taylor, decides to keep it, and probably wishes he'd have tossed it.
Penn State gains just the 30 seconds that it took to run off that play. Again, Penn State in a double wing. 2nd down and 9. Mauti in motion. Complete to Dwayne Taylor. He has a 1st down, and he's inside the 15 to around the 12.
Taylor broke a tackle there that enabled him to get an extra 7 yards. John Andrus is throwing the ball well today, and Taylor out of the backfield. You'll see right here, he gets hit right here, and he shakes right loose and gets another 7 or 8 yards. Puts Penn State in great shape for another touchdown.
Max, we're going to watch now number 26. Rich Mauti is in the game.
I've heard good words from him from Coach Joe Paterno.
Meanwhile, Taylor is inside the 10, down to around the 6-yard line.
Dwayne Taylor carries to about the 6-yard line.
Rich Mauti wears number 26. He is a 6'4", 200-pound freshman from Coriopolis.
And he can run, as I understand. Has great moves, and he's going to be, potentially, he's going to be a great split end or a flanker back for this club before he's out of school.
He's in a slot to the right. It's a 2nd down and 4 for Penn State. Larry Suey is down to within about a yard of a touchdown. And it's going to be 1st and goal. Scott Fitzke is also in the game, number 46. Another freshman from Red Lion.
It's great to see Coach Paterno have a chance to get these freshmen in there and let them play and get some experience. That's why every year you look on their roster, you find a lot of sophomores and juniors playing very good football because they had a chance to play as a freshman.
Fitzke to the right, wing back right, Mauti, 1st and goal. Did Suey get in? Very close. May have to untangle him to find out where the football is, although I believe one of the officials is marking the ball inches short of the end zone. Yep, Larry Suey had it down to just that close.
You'd think when it gets that close, they'd just give it to him.
Well, Iowa was within a yard of scoring a touchdown against Southern California last year when the ball popped out of a back's grasp and was grabbed by a linebacker at Southern Cal, and he went 99 for a touchdown. But Larry Suey this time is in for the TD. And Penn State goes on top by 30-10. Now here again, the score at this point in no way reflects the fact that Iowa was really in this football game.
Right over Rafferty right here, the big, strong guard that can really play football, and when they need the short yardage, they go right at him.
So Barvinchak will hold, and Bahr will try to put the 31st point on the board for Penn State with 6:24 left to play in the game. And Bahr misses. A line drive is off to the left. And Penn State's lead remains 20 points at 30-10. We'll be back right after this.
Heard about this double dollars lottery where you can win $1 million. Weekly prizes up to $50,000 and a chance to double what you win, all for just 4 bits. Old Willard tells me he buys a ticket every week. He ain't won nothing yet, but he says he's a patient man and he's going to.
There are millions to be won.
Proceeds benefit senior citizens.
Play the Pennsylvania lottery.
Double dollars, huh? Sounds exciting.
I'm gonna buy a Nova.
I'm going to buy Dodge Dart.
I guess it kinda all depends on what you think is smart.
I'll get a lot of hip room in a Nova.
I'll get even more in Dart.
I'll get a lot of miles on a gallon.
I'll do better in a Dart.
Well, I was gonna buy a Nova, but now I'm gonna buy a Dart.
I guess it kinda all depends on what you think is smart.
Number 1 for the money is Dodge.
Again, this request to our viewers. For all of us involved with this new Penn State Football Television Network, we would like to know what you think. We're trying very hard to continue to bring you the telecast. We'd like to know if you enjoy watching Penn State football. Please make a note of that address. Write to Comments, TCS, Gateway Towers, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 15222. We'd certainly appreciate it. Well, I guess Joe Paterno and his coaches can relax just a little bit now. 6:24 left in the game. Penn State leading by 20 points. And sure we'll get a chance to see quite a few other young men who would ordinarily not play very much.
You know, Ray, I was talking to you earlier about effective. How many ways Penn State can beat you? They do it. They do so many things well. Punt, they pass, they kick off return, and here's Iowa. The only way they've been able to move the ball is on the ground, and that's a tough way to win a football game.
This is Schick up the middle. Bang down at the 30-yard line by Tom DePeso and Tom Giotto. Well, Sever Toretti, I think you're breathing a bit easier now down on the playing field, are you not?
Somewhat, Ray, but having been a coach, I never stopped breathing heavily until the game is over. It was surprising to me to see that Iowa began to pass previously to this touchdown. They were doing so well with their sweeps. It wasn't so much poor tackling on our part, but the big, strong back that they have was breaking tackles down along the sideline. Now, there's what I mean. That kind of a play they should continue to run.
That was quarterback Butch Caldwell on a keeper trying to get outside and picks up just a couple of yards. The lack of a consistent passing attack, there's no doubt about it. As we watch Iowa for the first time this year, this is definitely hurting this football team, because if they had a good passing attack to go with their already good running, this would be a good football team offensively.
It'd definitely keep the other team off balance. Now you can just gear up on the run because they throw it so ineffectively.
That pass was almost picked off by John Bush, who is playing at safety in place of Peter Kuski.
In the defensive backfield today, a gentleman that's been playing an outstanding game is Tom Odell. He's really hit hard and made some great defensive plays for Penn State today.
As a result of that incomplete pass, it is now 3rd down and 7, and Iowa is still looking for the first complete pass of the game. 5:43 left to play. McNulty goes out to the wide side, the left side. This is Schick, and I think he has a first down just beyond the 40. DePeso and Allerman made the tackle. Tom DePeso of White Plains, New York. Kurt Allerman, the New Jerseyite. Bill Banks is in the game now, number 85. Bill Banks, the defensive end, a sophomore from Camden, New Jersey, and that's Doug Hostetler, a sophomore quarterback from Holsapple, as you might expect, and the brother of the linebacker, number 38, junior Ron Hostetler. Caldwell. First down at the Penn State 47.
There was a flag down, Ray. I don't know who it was on, but there's a flag on the field.
Back at the 45-yard line of Iowa. Offside, Penn State. It'll be declined. First down, Iowa in Penn State territory. Bernard Robinson, Owings Mills, Maryland, made that tackle. Tom Giotto, who was in the defensive backfield, is a senior from Vanderbilt.
The best thing that happens to Iowa is when they go back to pass, it's when the quarterback tucks it under his arms and runs. That's been their primary offense from their passing attack today, because they have not completed a pass, and they've only completed 7 passes in 3 games this season.
I said, by the way, Tom Giotto was from Vanderbilt. I meant Vandergrift. First down, Iowa. This is Schick. He gets about 4 or 5 yards, but the final moments are being run off here at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa. Scott Bettner, number 66, is going to get a chance to play at a guard position now for Iowa. Second down, 5 for Iowa. McNulty to the right. Schick is a wingback left. Defensive interference will be called, and it'll be first down Iowa around the Penn State 30-yard line.
John Bush was a little bit eager for an interception here, and he comes in a little too quick. He's right on his back, as you can see, and he trips him up, and that is definitely interference called against John Bush, who has played a very good game today also, I might add.
First down Iowa at the Penn State 30 with 4:09 left in the game. The linebackers now are Allerman, Wanamaker, DePeso, and Height. That ball was partially deflected by Sidler. Randy Sidler kept Butch Caldwell from completing that pass, and so it'll be 2nd down and 10.
Please go to gate 21 immediately.
I hate to repeat it again, but it's unusual that in a game like this where it seems as though Iowa's dominant. Iowa's run 67 plays, and Penn State has only run 52, so that's where the big plays come in.
2nd and 10. And Wellington has it inside the 25. Jack Beener of Hopwood is in the game now defensively, along with Bill Banks, Tony Petruccio, Randy Sidler, Jeff Height, Tom DePeso, Steve Wanamaker, Kurt Allerman, Tom Giotto, John Bush, and Bernard Robinson. So it's pretty safe to say that it's an almost entire second unit on defense in the game right now, as valuable experience, as you pointed out, Max, is being picked up by these young players, which will hold Penn State in such good stead. It's 3rd down, 5 at the 25 of Penn State. And big Jim Jensen picks up a 1st down inside the 20 before John Bush runs him out of bounds.
Let's have a look at Jim Jensen. He's 6'5", 233 pounds. That's a lot to bring down, but it's also a big target.
Jensen shredded 2 tacklers before being run out of bounds at the 17-yard line.
I think Jensen will make a great tight end.
This time, Jensen lines up as the wingback left. Intended for Schultz, another incomplete pass. Coming into today's game, Iowa had completed but 7 of 25 passes and had 3 intercepted. So I would have to believe, as they await Southern California next week, that a lot of time will be spent on the passing game during the coming days.
It's so hard to win with a running game only. You've got to be able to throw the ball unless you're just completely overpowering on the ground.
A 2nd and 10 play. Caldwell. Beautiful play by Tom Giotto. For a moment, it looked as if Jim McNulty, the split end, would be on the receiving end of the first pass completion of the game, but not so.
Look at it again, and you'll see that the long dry spell almost died right here, but a great play. Watch how far he comes from to break up this ball. He's wide open. If he doesn't float the ball in there, it's a touchdown. But he gives Tom Giotto time to close and almost intercept it.
So 3rd and 10 at the Penn State 17. Schick is the leading ball carrier of the game, 52 yards. Dwayne Taylor, 46 yards for Penn State. 3:13 left in the game, 3rd and 10 Iowa. This is Schick, and he gets only a couple of yards before Tom DePeso filled that hole. It's going to be 4th down and 8 at the Penn State 15.
Notice they run their draw play a little bit different. The quarterback goes beyond the fullback or halfback, whoever he's getting to, and then puts the ball back into his stump, which is a very deceptive way to run the draw. That's used by a lot of pro teams and a lot of college teams.
4th and 8. McNulty to the left. Wellington, wingback right. Under pressure. Was intended for Wellington. Broken down by John Bush, and Penn State takes over the football.
Well, we can look at another futile attempt. Actually, the ball was on target, thrown good, but good defensive play, and that's been the story for Iowa today, and that's incomplete passes.
Here's the new quarterback, the sophomore, 6'1", 198-pound Doug Hostetler, number 15 for Penn State. He'll have Larry Suey as his fullback, Rich Mauti as the tailback. Fitzke is wide to the left. This is Mauti. And he gets about 8 or 9 yards on 1st down. And when the ball is snapped the next time, less than 2 minutes will remain in this game at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City, Iowa. Penn State now will get ready for homecoming next week, and let's hope that we have that beautiful Pennsylvania weather when Kentucky comes into University Park for homecoming. 2nd down and 1 at the Penn State 24. This is Hostetler, the sophomore, behind the line, completes it to Suey, but a loss on the play.
An excellent one-hand grab by Suey. The ball wasn't thrown quite that good, and Suey stuck out one big paw and caught it.
Dan Trail from Carnegie is in at tackle, number 79. Greg Kubas of Edison, New Jersey is in at a guard, 63. Dave Shuckry of Lindenhurst, New York, number 58 at center. Paul Reynaud of Erie is in at a tackle. Keith Dorney is in, number 74 at a tackle. Hostetler throwing on the run and complete to Fitzke.
He dropped it.
Did he drop it then?
Right, he had it.
I'm sorry, I should have stood up so I could see down near the sideline. That was Rich Mauti. Rich Mauti.
It's Rich Mauti. Never got control of the ball. You can see he's open and he goes up for it. He goes up for it a little too quick, but he never got control of the ball. But a good move by Rich Mauti.
4th down. Bahr to punt. This is Penny at the 40. Breaks away from one tackler. Broke away from Keith Dorney. Then is met by Brad Benson and Tom Giotto. And with 1:29 remaining, Iowa will have the football this one more time.
There's a flag down there. They might have been somebody a little late on there, which happens sometimes when it's late in the game and you got some people very eager to play. And of course I could be wrong on the call, but it looked like maybe a late hit, or it could be clipping, but that happens sometimes when you're trying to get some of these young people in there to cover these kicks.
We are still awaiting a signal from the officials as to what the infraction was.
Well, whatever it wasn't what I said it was. It's going against Iowa.
Yes, the infraction by Iowa. So this is going to cost the Hawkeyes some yardage. Iowa will be very deep in Iowa territory when the ball is next put in play. Personal foul. Back goes the ball to the 22-yard line of Iowa. And with 1:29 left, Iowa has the football. See who the quarterback is. Is it McLaughlin? He's been the quarterback most of the game. Yes, the sophomore. Incomplete. Intended for the wingback, Wellington. So Iowa now is 0 for 11 in passing. It'll be 2nd down and 10. And as usual, when the game is over, immediately when the game is over, we'll have comments from Joe Paterno today when he chats with Tortoretti. Second down and 10, the Iowa Hawkeyes, who practically owned the first quarter of today's game and led by a score of 3-0 early in the game. Giotto was there. It was intended for Ed Donovan.
Donovan almost went up and got that ball, even though it was up for grabs. He almost made a great play.
Now it's going to be 3rd and 10. The Hawkeyes 0 for 12 in passing now.
Ray, do you know who Bob Cummings roomed with in college?
No, I don't.
Mongo. Alex Karras.
Really?
Yes, he did.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Right here at Iowa.
This is Dave Schick, the leading runner of the game. Picks up about 6 yards. It's going to be 4th down. Penn State anticipating a punt. We'll have Peter Kuski in. Don Motter, the Iowa punter, is coming in, and We're down to the final 1 minute of the game, and the clock is running. So problematical whether Penn State will have another scrimmage play. Many of the fans have left. We had an attendance of 52,780. Good punt. Peter Kuski at the 32. No run back at all. Hit down at the 30. 24 seconds will show on the clock when the ball is snapped. And for Penn State, Scott Fitzke will be in, number 46. Larry Suey, number 35. Rich Mauti. Thought I saw number 48. I'm not sure. Doug Hostetler's the quarterback again. Now this is Rich Mauti, and he ran into the big left end, Mark Phillips. And another Hawkeye is down. The third Hawkeye to be injured. A marker was also dropped on that play. The clock shows 16 seconds remaining. Did Burks make the tackle, or was he injured? Shanty Burks, a defensive back for Iowa, was injured on the play. And Iowa, as a result, being charged with a timeout here.
There was a penalty deep in Iowa's defensive backfield. Personal foul, I believe, will be 15 yards against Iowa. Kind of hate to see these things happen in the last few minutes but sometimes you're just a little bit frustrated and you take a little shot a little too late and a little too hard, and it cost you 15 yards.
First down, Penn State at the Penn State 47. Fitzke to the left. John Carroll is in at quarterback now, from the junior from Pittsburgh. And Suey bursts loose up the middle and is all the way down to the Iowa 37 on what is probably the last play of the game, except that the clock is stopped in the first down with 6 seconds remaining. Now, when the ball is declared ready for play, then the clock will start again, and I would doubt very much if we'll have time for another play.
I think that's the end. Suey managed to get in a pretty good gain right before the whistle.
2 seconds, 1 second, and there's the football game as Carroll faded to pass. As Joe Paterno goes across the field, the scoreboard tells the story. The final score was Penn State 30, Iowa 10. We'll be back with Coach Joe Paterno's comments on today's game right after this. Well, Max McGee, as the fans leave Kinnick Stadium, we have the quick statistics here, and the passing definitely was the difference, because Iowa unofficially outgained Penn State 212 yards to 198, but that passing yardage is something else.
Should I read that? 194 to zip, and that's no completions for Iowa. That is very unusual for any game to see a team through. I believe they threw maybe 12, 14 times with no completion. That, of course, was the difference in the game. You've got to have more aspects than a bunch of hard running backs. You've got to be able to make some big plays with the passing game.
And I know that terms like big play are sometimes overdone, but in this case today, Penn State indeed did come up with the big play offensively. The passes that Coach Joe Paterno just mentioned, that Max has been talking about all during the game. The one to Barvinchak that turned around the first half and took the momentum away from Iowa, and the one from Mauti to Mauti in the second half when Iowa definitely had picked up some momentum. Well, Tor Toretti is ready with Joe Paterno right now, and we're anxious to hear what the coach has to say. Tor?
Joe, congratulations on a great win against a fired-up football team.
Well, I thought Iowa played very well, and except for those 2 great pass plays that Ann just put right on the button, especially the second one to Mauti. It was just strictly a big league play with everything coming down on us. Had to have it in the clutch, and I think maybe we're starting to get to be the kind of a football team that, can count on making some plays when they're way behind. And I was pleased with that aspect of it. Iowa's awfully strong. They played awfully well. They run hard, and I think they're going to win a lot of football games before this year's over.
Joe, is a big league play and a big league call, as I know you call it. You use the pass effectively at the right times, and it helped to augment your running attack.
Yeah, well, we needed the one early, the one that Barvinchak. We figured, well, they're getting a little anxious and we're ganging up on it. And then the last one, too, Andrews did a great job. He looked for the split end for the first down. He didn't have the split end, and and then he went back to the guy, made a really beautiful throw, and those kind of games are going to give John more and more confidence, and I think going to make him a better quarterback as we go along. But it was a good win, Chris. Now we got to go back home for homecoming and take on the Kentucky boys.
All right, Joe. Good.
Okay,
good luck to you. And back to the booth.
For Max McGee and Sever Toretti, this is Ray Scott saying so long from Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City, where the final score was Penn State 30, Iowa 10. This game has been brought to you by the Dodge Boys. See your local Dodge dealer for the best buy in town. And by Kentucky Fried Chicken, where you can have a finger-licking, good-time barrel of fun. Executive producer of Penn State football is Nelson L. Goldberg. Coverage of this game produced by Guido D'Elia and directed by Brian Sight. Associate producer, Sue Devlin. Be with us again next week when Penn State meets Kentucky. Production and technical facilities by TPC Pittsburgh. This has been a Total Communication Systems production.